Hi, I'm Brooklyn Summer. Every 4 seconds, a child disappears somewhere in the world. Imagine a family's pain when a child's been stolen. Human trafficking is a global epidemic. Voices Against Trafficking speaks for victims who are locked in a world of hopelessness. Broken Treasures, You Hold the Key is a music compilation featuring artists and celebrities who want to save the world's children. Right now, you can help save someone's child. Go to voicesagainsttrafficking.com today. Proceeds benefit child victims. We can free them, but you hold the key.
Welcome to the Songwriter Connection podcast, where we look at the craft of songwriting through the eyes of the songwriter. Each week, we make a connection with a music maker, listen to their songs, and hear their stories. From Nashville, Tennessee, here's your host, Dave Lenahan.
Well, we hope you had terrific holidays. Here we are with the first new episode of 2024. This is episode 136, and we've got a great guest that you're going to enjoy making the connection with today. Thank you for joining us. I'm Dave, and I'm looking ahead to shows coming up in January, if all go to plan. I've got this duet called Courtney Lynn and Quinn that I really love, and I think you're going to enjoy what they're doing too. They're coming on probably next week. We have the Hall of Famer Kent Blasey coming back to spend some time with us this month. Greg Wilson, it's been a little while since we had Greg, one of my favorite songwriters in this town, just a real hot hand right now. And my friend Scott Southworth, all scheduled to come your way here in January. So again, thanks for joining us. Today, we are going to talk about Wisconsin. A lot.
Yeah, there, hey.
We've got a lot of Wisconsinites that come into Nashville and make it their home. Great songwriters up there, and Randy VanVooran's one of my favorite. Randy, how are you? Randy V, I like to call him.
Thank you very much, Dave.
Thank you very much. Randy's now in the building, around the dining room table.
Literally wrapped around the table.
Exactly right. And he brought his guitar, and we're going to do some songs and talk about his journey, his musical journey from Wisconsin, up north of Green Bay, right?
Yeah, 40 miles north of Green Bay, Highway 41, located right on the bay in the beautiful shores of Green Bay.
You did some radio yourself, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
What did you do? Tell.
Actually, I had two shows. I had a country show and a rock show.
And a rock show.
The rock show was first, and that was kind of funny. I mean, they never had one like that. And when I used to live in Boston, when I was going through Albany, New York, people don't realize how short the state of Massachusetts really is.
Yeah.
It's like, next thing you know, you're in Massachusetts. But when I get on there, I turn on my radio, it's like WAAF. If we're too loud, shut off your radio. And I'm like, wow, that's interesting. Yeah. That's pretty cool. So I kind of talked to my boss when I was at the radio station there, and I think, well, why don't we do a format kind of like that? So before we were even on the air, we did tons of promos for all of the places that had, the businesses, the work, like foundries, the shipyard out there. They build ships for the Navy, countries, a factory that build arches, for churches and stuff, a meat factory, and all my phones going crazy.
See, already people want to talk to you.
Man, I know. Yeah. Usually they're strippers or something like that. But we would start out by doing all these commercials for We Rock Marinette Marine, and stuff like that, or We Rock the Midnight Crew at McDonald's, and and people would love that because they were kind of included in. And that wouldn't just be my show; it would be all through the 24 hours a day. Yeah. So I must have had hundreds of them. We rock the crew at Amy's Bagels in Coleman, Wisconsin. Wherever.
Did you do the drag race commercials too? Sunday.
Yeah, it'd be like that, except it was this Wednesday. Yeah, it's like, what the hell's going on here? But nobody's ever heard that format like that. So it immediately caught on, and it would have the general manager just busting his gut, just laughing that this is going to work, and plus that's kind of like right around the time. The iPads and stuff were coming out, where you could So that's basically the digital part. I'd go in there and actually program my show, put the commercials that I had to put in there and stuff. And then I liked Jim Rome too, so I would read these things that came off the press.
Epic.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Exactly. What did you give out, Jim, for Halloween? Hall's cough drops. It's like, what the hell's going on here? You know?
Cola.
I could picture all these poor little kids ringing on his doorbell. Oh, yeah, and he's got like a garbage can full of Hall's cough drop. Stupid. But, I would program and that's how I got a lot of my own stuff on the radio, both country.
Could you play your own stuff?
Oh, yeah. Okay. People love that. The bands... Yeah,
you had some pretty amazing bands. There was Stormer, and South Ellis.
South Ellis was a hell of a rock band. I think
you started in rock. Was it rock?
I don't want to sound like who's this guy, but there were some songs, non-originals, covers that we did that we did better than the bands. People would just love that. We'd incorporate. Even in the country bands like Rivertown and that, right? Yeah. We wanted to give the people that couldn't afford to go to like a Tim McGraw concert or Luke Bryan or someone like that, or even 38 Special on the rock side of it. We wanted to give them the same experience that they would go. So we had all the airplane lighting, and in fact, there's part where we had a pre-recorded part like "Ladies and Gentlemen, the Thunder of the North, Rivertown," and
that's awesome.
And all you would see was our silhouettes because of the bright lights behind us and all the smoke and the fog machine smoke. But back then they could also smoke, so sometimes you wonder throw your clothes away when you got home.
Oh yeah,
it was so horrible.
Yeah.
But and I usually did the trick. They did that.
Wow.
But as far as
packed them in, you guys were quite the deal. Yeah.
But the radio thing, going back to that, that was just. What a cool thing! I never applied for that. They actually, they actually sponsored me in the bands that I were in. They would make our posters. We were lucky enough to know a couple of the girls that were there. That you talked to the general manager, and they end up being a sponsor. So the best thing for a band to do or an individual is be sponsored by the radio that would play your songs. So bing, bing, bing. Winner, chicken dinner. But. We had things on there, and I had pretty much my freedom as long as I didn't swear, which was very hard to do at first. But I got a call one day when I was laid off. I used to be an engineer at the phone company, making nice money with 2 secretaries, and this is great, until the cell phone came out, and it was just like a bulldozer. You're watching it crush your dreams. All those eggs you had in one basket, they're gone.
No.
So when I was off of that, they gave me a call. The general manager goes, "Hey, ever think about being on the radio, musically?" Or no, I mean you. I'm like, well, come on in next week at 5 a.m. We'll have you sitting behind Kit. It was a good friend Kit Donaldson from up there, and. See if you think you'd like something like this. And then I did, and we got along. He was a real good friend of mine, and he showed me how to operate all the different things, and next thing you know, I was pre-recording my shows. So, I could be down in Green Bay somewhere, and all of a sudden, he did a real cool thing for me at 5 o'clock. He'd have like the Fred Flintstone theme where the horn goes off and and all the other stuff.
Oh, sure.
It's time to drive home with the Big Vin. But I was actually in Green Bay.
Was it the Big Vin?
The Big Vin, that's what they call me. So that was some fun stuff. But,
wow, I'll bet.
But one thing I really remember was recording a commercial for the radio station, but I had it coming panning from the left to the right. It was at Christmas time.
Left to right speakers.
Exactly. And you heard the jingle bells in the distance. You go, ch-ch-ch-ch. And all of a sudden, ho. So take this, Santa. And you hear a shotgun go.
And no, you did not shoot Santa in the radio.
I shot Santa, man.
Oh, dude.
He's going, oh, no. And in the background, you also mix in,
oh, no.
Before the fall goes, free medicine for everyone.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry.
What a funny radio bit. I hope you still have that on tape somewhere.
I actually don't.
You
But
don't?
I'm sure they threw that away, too. But it was so funny that when I would hear it myself, it would make me laugh just like we're laughing now.
Yeah.
And
what a bit.
Everybody thought it was pretty cool, too. Hey, that thing was Santa priceless. And I go, thanks. And it's just something that came off the top of my head.
Like a lot of your songs.
Yeah.
Let's do a song. I want to
Venison for everyone.
Venison for everyone.
Oh, man.
Oh, what do you want to do, man? New It Town. I love this.
Yeah.
We played a show just the other night, you and I, and the lovely Laura Davis, who's an amazing guitar player. And
Can I say
singer.
this about
Please
Laura?
do.
If we're witnessing a superstar in the making,
I think so.
I don't know anybody that personally that can play that kind of music that good on a guitar with her fingers. Those little skinny long fingers and the beautiful person, beautiful looking.
Yes.
Everything. She's the whole package. But her voice is like Alison Krauss.
Yeah, it's
she's
pure like that. Yeah.
So I mean, she's the whole package of a very good talent. When she's hanging around with the people in the music genre like she does, it's bluegrassy type, but when she's like at the station in or something, she just all the jaws just drop.
Oh yeah,
and I feel so proud of her. And
yep.
So catch her while you can is what
absolutely.
we are doing. But all you people across the globe and beyond,
Laura Davis.
Laura Davis.
We have to have her on the podcast.
Oh
It's
man,
just incredible.
if you can get her to talk.
And of course, Janet and Charles Cox were part of that round
Yes.
too. Our good friends, Janet and
Very,
Charles,
very good friends.
who've been on this podcast as well. Amazing performers, and you. And I love your stuff.
Why,
and,
thank you, Dave.
And you always seem to lead off with "New It Town," which you can't help but sing along. And it's a powerful statement, I think, on the whole industry. And so, why don't you play it and we'll talk about it.
So
okay?
I usually start out by saying, "Here's a true song." So
And true song.
A wallet full of cash in a trunk full of gear. 20 odd years I've been driving down here, where 100 others just like me settle down every day. You see, I write the songs for the opening acts, the ones you love and love to hear again, but you can't remember where you heard them that day in a new it town, just like a boom town. Except when you're done, you still stick around, hanging on to hope like a prayer that someday you'll be found in this new it town. Helicopter parents and their voice idle kids, they line the road to show off their digs, 'cause everyone's the best, everyone's a star, everybody shines till it hits them that those skyscrapers built on broken dreams. It's their business to tell you anything, so roll up your sleeves and show us your bruises. For everyone that wins, there's 100,000 losers in this new it town, just like a boom town. Except when you're done, you still stick around, hanging on to hope like a prayer. Someday you'll be found in this new it town. Maybe it's you up on a stage behind some cage, playing covers and getting paid. Maybe it's me out on the curb there in the street, playing for change and praying for change in this new it town, just like a boom town. Except when you're done, you still stick around, hanging on the hope like a prayer that someday you'll be found in this new town, just like a boom town. Except when you're done, you still stick around, hanging on to hope like a prayer that someday you'll be found in a new town, in a new town, in a new town.
Randy VanVooran is our guest. Randy V, great song. I love that song.
Thank you, brother.
From the very first time I heard it, it's kind of a commentary on the music industry right now, isn't it?
It really is.
What goes on here behind the scenes in Nash Vegas. Yeah.
Rub your see, show me the bruises, because, man,
That's
for
right.
everyone that wins, there's 100,000
losers. That's right. Absolutely. Did you write that with anyone?
That was me.
Just all you?
That was during the COVID era. The COVID era of Randy VanVooran, where you pray that, thank you, God, for giving me the rest of my life, because that was a bad time.
Yeah. You had it bad, huh?
Yeah, I was out mowing the yard, and my wife Shelly comes in and comes out and says, "Man, you got to take me to the hospital." I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, I really don't feel." I mean, you could tell that something was wrong. Uh-huh. And when we get there and pull up, and she says, "You're coming in too," because I couldn't go 20 feet without resting my head on the lawnmower. Oh, it was just, man. I thought, man, it's 90 degrees out. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this today anyway.
Yeah.
And I was pretty big at the time. So maybe it's my health. Well, that's what you go to the hospital for, Randy.
Right.
Well, we got there, and they took her in. It was, when the COVID first came out, it was treated so, it's like a contagion that's going to kill the world. Right. I mean, it might, who knows? But anyway, I went in then for the same thing, and you couldn't see her or what's going on. Yeah. And they put me with IVs in because they thought dehydration. Mm-hmm. Well, I also was in severe kidney failure, or all this was going down, and it was all caused because of COVID, and I knew it was really bad when the doctor and the nurse left, and next thing you know, there's 3 doctors in those Tyvek spacesuits, they have the little lights, and you see outside the glass windows in the ICU.
You're like, wow, am I in a strain? Or
Dave,
what?
I tell you, the feeling you get, like the blood goes from your head down to your feet, just like, oh my God,
wow.
This can't be real. And then they come in and say, sir, you have a severe case of COVID, and your kidneys are failing, and blah 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 blah. And they, next thing you know, it was bad. They were ready to put I was like 2 hours away from being put on a ventilator. Oh, man. And they asked me beforehand, would you like to try this experimental procedure that they had out? No one's really did this. I would be like a guinea pig. Uh-huh. And what's it going to cost me? Well, nothing, because we're going to use you as a guinea pig. Uh-huh. And I had to sign a whole bunch of paperwork, like I was buying a house or something. And then they brought it in from Chattanooga, and it was plasma from a person who had severe COVID and recovered.
Oh, so the antibiotics and
whatever it did,
yeah.
It literally made me not have to go on a ventilator. Wow! But the feelings I've,
how did Shelly, your wife, make it?
She ended up getting to go home and being quarantined at the house. Wow! But
that must have been hard for you guys.
Well, the thing, the hardest part was you can't see the person.
Yeah.
So you're just talking. And I'm not dumb. I was watching TV. That this is serious stuff at the time because it just came out. Mm-hmm. And I may never see my wife again, or my daughter, or my mom and dad. It's just, and then about 20 some days in, it got better, and I went to
how long were you in the hospital?
27 days in ICU.
Oh my!
And then the recovery ICU for another week or so, and then that's where they give you rehab. How many steps can you climb before you fall over because you can't breathe? Jeez. And when I got home, I looked at don't really get to look at yourself much, but I had the underbeard growing, and it was all white. I look like a porcupine Santa Claus or something. So, but that was the chapter. I'm glad I survived.
I'm glad you did too.
I said a lot of prayers, and a lot of people's. I literally could feel their prayers, and because it was something else.
And God knew there was a lot more songs in you.
I hope
that
so.
the world needed to hear.
Every day I say, give me another one, God.
Give me another one. Do you feel inspired like that? Is that what it's, when you get an inkling that you got to write this song?
When I want something to be, I don't take, if I'm like in a co-write, I don't want to take it over or whatever, but if somebody's sitting around a room and all their ideas, like, I got a song about a farmer, we'll call it Old MacDonald. And it'd be like, man, that's been done before or something. But when I get a hook or something pretty cool that I think this is a different way to approach that subject or that title, I'll bring it up. I go, I got kind of shooting this around, and I also try to put a melody to something and at least have part of a chorus and then build the verses around it.
You like to have that going into the room,
going in, or I'll have a plethora of hooks and a plethora of melodies. And if they, I like that melody with that hook over, and next thing you know, you got to,
we have talked on this show a lot about co-writing. And maybe we should, I mean, you just made such a perfect point that I wanted to focus in on just a little bit. I think you got to prepare for a co-write. You just can't go to the room and go, okay, we got guys. And I love how you do that. You prepare, you've got something. And my good friend Billy Lee is the same way. Billy likes to have a little bit of a track from his studio or something, comes in with, great ideas. And, so...
Well, at least you're prepared for something. You don't have to use it because somebody else might do the same thing, and it's like, man.
Yeah, they might have something that blows you away.
Well, that's just killer. Let's use that. Throw mine. We can use that some other time, or you might use part of it in another song or something. That maybe. Oh, this needs a bridge, but it was. Well, I had this for a chorus. And all of a sudden, bam. That's what the bridge becomes or something. So it's like, oh, it was at least useful.
Right.
But I might go weeks or months without even, I just played my other stuff, or, but when an idea hits, they might come 3 to 5 at a time, and that's how it kind of works.
Especially down works here. That way. Yeah, you have those downtimes. I think I've heard it called input. You're just in this input mode, and then all of a sudden, boom, 4, 5, 6.
Exactly.
Man. Yeah. And do you get obsessed at that point? When you get started on it, I gotta finish this. It's
you can't get it out of your blood. Or you call your co-writing friend. You don't know you're going to be a co-write, but I want your input in it. How do you like to co-write this song? All of a sudden there's silence. He goes, man,
we're writing now.
Yeah, well, let's go with that.
Let's go with that. And I can remember nights just laying in bed and having it run through my head, and Pat would say, "Where are you going?" I had to get this idea down. I'd go, right, and then I'd lay down again, and then I was up again in 5 more minutes. What's the matter? I got the perfect line, And I did this because there was one time that it was a song an old song I had, and it came to me a new way to end that song.
Okay.
And I remember laying there in bed, go, "That's it. Why didn't I think of this before? This is amazing."
You had to dream about it.
Well, no, I wasn't even asleep yet.
Oh,
no.
It's one of them things.
And I'm like, I should probably get up and write that down.
And that's what you did.
And I went, no, this was back. Now I do that.
Yeah.
But back then I'm like, I'll remember that in the morning. Yeah. It's too good not to remember. And like 3-4 days later, I'm like, what was it? It's gone. So from now on,
that happens all the time. I can't believe I can't remember the best song that was ever written.
Yeah,
man.
But so from that day forward, never again. I'll make myself get up, or I'll just take my phone, and or I'll record, into my phone. I'll never fall asleep on that ever again. And don't let that happen to you. That's a good tip. If you're a songwriter, Get it out there.
Kids, listen to your Uncle Dave. He's telling you the truth.
Sometimes I put a pad next to the bed.
Oh, yeah.
Get up in the morning and I went, I can't read that.
What's Patty think about that? What are you doing, Dave?
What are you doing? I gotta write this down.
Oh, man. But sometimes you get up and write stuff, and you think it's so great that you already got the hook, and you've got almost a whole verse.
Yeah.
And then you go to sleep, and when you wake up in the morning, you feel like, I'm in a good mood. I'm going to see what I wrote. I remember waking up and writing this down, and you're looking at it like, what the hell was I thinking? What am I talking about here? I mean, really? Those, it's like, you bit into an apple and it, boy, does that taste like pizza. The best ever. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
It's funny. Sometimes in my vivid dreams, and I've heard this called a lucid dream, where you're dreaming at the time, and it's a dream. And sometimes I'm playing music, and I'll hear it, and I'll hear the harmonies, and I'm playing, and I'm going, yeah, man, I got to remember this. I know this. I'm dreaming, but I need to remember this. It's a good progression, and this is a cool song. And again, 3-4 days later, you recalled that you had it, and you went, oh, it's long gone. Yeah. But a few months back, I had this really vivid dream again, and I'm playing guitar, and I'm hearing the harmonies, and there's people singing with me, and I remember going, I do have to remember, because this is really good. And when I woke up that morning, I went right here to the studio in the dining room. My Rain Song guitar is right here. I picked it up. Yeah. Not even know. I picked it up, put the capo on the floor, and I started playing this D chord and D-shaped chord, and I'm like, wow, that's it. That's exactly what I was doing in the dream. That's it. And then in about 20 minutes, I had the whole melody. It all came back. Yeah. And it's about then that Billy Lee calls, my buddy, who wrote the one. Gary Allen's a big hit by Gary Allen.
The one.
He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm drinking coffee." "What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm drinking coffee." I said, "We're not going to write a song. You got to help me write this song." And I told him the experience. He said, "Okay, what do you got so far?" I said, "Just the hook, but I got the melody. I remember that melody, And we started writing on that song, and I think it took about 3 sessions, and he wanted to set up another one, and I'm like, no, I'm obsessed. So, we finished the rest on between Facebook Messenger and text and phone calls, and finally finished it. But wow, so you never know what's going to inspire you. It might be a dream, it might be something else, but
exactly,
don't lose it.
No,
do not, because it's God-given. It's the universe.
There's a reason why you dreamt that.
There is, right?
God says, "Well, Dave, I'm not. If you don't write it down tonight,
you're gonna lose it.
That's it, man. 3 strikes and you're out."
Absolutely right. And I'll probably take that song to a publisher someday, and they'll go, what else you got? But to me, it was important that I got it out right.
That's what they do around here.
Hey, let's do another song. And you know what I would like? Can I have you play? The other song that you play and everybody sings along with you, and any of the writers' rounds I've been to with you, was Mr. Whiskey. And tell us the story behind that. And if you play that for us, that's just that's a good country song.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Whiskey, thank you for mentioning that. It's written by myself, a great friend of mine from back in Wisconsin, Winnebago County, Wisconsin's own Mr. Jay Bramer.
Jay Bramer.
Yeah, and Mike Heath. And we met Mike through SOWI. It's Songwriters of Wisconsin International. And really nice guy, super nice guy. He's a recovering alcoholic. He's been sober probably at that time for 15 years or so. Mm-hmm. But I had this melody it starts out, "Hey, Mr. Whiskey, what were you thinking?" And that was all I had to start it. But it had the melody, like we were talking about before. You got a melody and a lyric written down. So, and we brought Mike in and Jay, and me and Jay were asking. Jay's taking notes. He's awesome at putting stuff together. Like, I'm not going to use that. Well, I know we're going to use this, and blah 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 blah. We were kind of like asking Mike what it was like, or what are the things that were the worst encounters while you thought you were living your life and stuff, and we came up with a song like this. Hey, Mr. Whiskey, what were you thinking? You let me down when you whispered, keep drinking. I can't undo all those damn things you said. They tear me up like that pain in my head, Mr. Whiskey. You chased off my wife. You cost me my job, yeah, and damn near my life. I'm buried in bills and I'm knee deep in debt. My poor shattered pride is all I've got left, Mr. Whiskey. Mr. Whiskey. I'm tired of living in shame-driven fear. All the memories are hazy, but the wreckage is clear. Move over, you fool. God can take it from here. Can't you see? Hey, Mr. Whiskey, I should have known. You're not my friend, so I'm letting you go. You can crawl back to your spot on the shelf, 'cause I'm starting over by blaming myself, Mr. Whiskey. Mr. Whiskey. Damn, Mr. Whiskey.
Great song. That is Randy VanVooran, our guest. And you're listening to the Songwriter Connection podcast. We're going to delve into that, get under the hood of that song right after we take a little break. Don't go away.
You're listening to the Songwriter Connection, connecting with music makers and hearing their songs and stories. Now back to the show with your host, Dave Linehan.
I always like to get in the plug. If you're listening on YouTube, please like and subscribe. That's what I was trying to come up with. Subscribe.
Subscribe to it now or die.
That helps us, and you'll never miss an episode. We publish each and every Wednesday very early in the morning, Central Time in the U.S., 2 a.m., so that when you get up and you have a cup of coffee and make a new connection, because it's all about the connections you make. All the boats rise with the tide, as they say.
Yeah.
Randy VanVooran from how do you say the time? Peshtigo? I messed it up, didn't I?
It's pretty close.
Pretty close?
You know, once Tom T. Hall called it Peshtigo.
How do you say it?
Peshtigo.
Peshtigo.
It's home of the world's worst, or no, not the world's, but America's most disastrous forest fire.
Oh, was
and
there?
If you look up, there's books that are at least 2 inches thick that
really
talk about people boiled in the river.
Oh,
it's horrible, and
wow.
it was so bad that if you look at the state of Wisconsin, in that little finger that sticks out, that's Door County, and the flames went the 13 miles over to the air and burnt Door County down. So
Are you kidding? When was that?
That was 1871.
Oh, wow.
1871. So every October, and that was in October. It was so dry that, they didn't have internet back in 1871. So say, hey, Bill, you're going to burn in the river. So, it's just like the weather makers. But back then they were more accurate because they would send a letter and they would say, hey, it's snowing here. It'll probably be snowing there in 3 days. And your weather for today is snow.
Snow and more snow.
Yeah.
You know from snow up there. I heard you say the other day in the rounding, I think you were just joking, but you said we were like north of Green Bay.
Right.
You said we have like about 2 weeks of summer a year.
That's it. So let's write a song about it.
Right. Got a lot of time indoors writing songs.
Yeah, this year it was July 10th through the 21st.
Wow.
Leaves are gone. Here comes the toboggans.
Let's get into Mr. Whiskey. I think there's a real important lesson in that song. And what I love about the song is it takes an object like a bottle of whiskey and it personifies it. Turn it into a person and sing that song to that person.
Well, there's so many songs, Dave, that are written about whiskey. It's my best friend Jack and Johnny or whatever, and and they try to relate to that, or the bottom of the glass, or whiskey in the Bible, and so it's like, well, it just came out because of like, hey, Mr. Whiskey, I'm not listening to you anymore, type of thing, and that just grew to the three of us sitting around having Cokes because Mike doesn't drink, and then coming up with a song that when we get done, we're like, man, that tells a hell of a story. What's different than that too is it doesn't have a specific course or anything. It just, hey, Mr. Whiskey, and it tells a part, and it goes right into the back of the, hey, Mr. Whiskey, and then it ends up like,
So the structure's a little different too.
It's totally a different structure. I never did a song like that before. Wow. And when we get done, I go, hey, this works.
It really works. It does.
We might have had a couple more lines, that, and we're like, well, this will fit. Those are, what do you call it when you can pop one out and it'll fit in here. Yeah. And then that's where you put the order. No, I think it's got to start like this and end like this, and we'll take one of the two or three that we had. And this is the perfect one for the middle. Yeah.
Sometimes, isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly.
Something else. And that's what I love about songwriting.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about your journey. So up there in Wisconsin, northern Wisconsin, you were making a lot of trips to Nashville to write.
Yeah.
And you were doing that, and that's a long way, isn't it?
It's anywhere, if you drive super fast and the cop doesn't pull you over. If you go 78 to 82 miles an hour with all the construction and stuff, it takes about 11 to 13 hours, depending on how that is.
And you do that quite a few times every year?
At the time, we got 20 years under our belt of coming down. Like
20 years coming down, right?
New at town kind of said earlier.
Yeah.
And I come down a lot with my friend Jay Bramer again and friend Kevin Van Pay. And they both lived in the Green Bay area at the time. And we would come down for seminars and other stuff like NSAI events.
Well, we did that too.
Number one releases of a friend or something that had it. And we spend a week or a long weekend from like a Wednesday to a Wednesday. We could have went out to a lot of places and just soaked up Nashville. But after the first couple of times that you're on Broadway and meet friends out for drinks or whatever. Oh, sorry, Dave, I can't afford coming. It's Nashville anymore. But we met like Mark Allen Barnett. I used to
helped so many songwriters in this town.
I stayed at his place and we bonded, and just like can't ask for a better brother than that down here. And he showed you the ropes and the do's and the don'ts. Just by the way his experience went. And you learn from that, and he'll introduce me to number one artists and stuff, and you get you having beers with
Mark
them.
Mark Barnett tours, we talk about it on the show a lot.
And then you talk about their experiences, and just I'm not going to do that or whatever. And it's a funny coincidence because there was a guy once. When I was playing for the Coxes when they hosted Hidden Nashville downtown.
Yes, that was always fun.
And this man came in there, and he looked a look. I mean, holy cow. For looks, you're going to be a star, pal, But he come up to me and he says, how do how do you bypass all this crap? What do you mean? Doing this on a Sunday, I want to be a star. And I don't know if that's exactly how he said it, but that's what comes across. And you look at him like, I go, when did you get here? Well, last Thursday. I'm like, dude, you go back to where you came from, because if that's the approach, I mean, unless you're just a killer and you were blessed with all the tools, and
even if
he didn't. I mean, he had the looks, but the rest of it was like, well, don't unpack your suitcase because.
Well, I mean, and it's really a good point, Randy. Very few have that overnight success like that, and the ones that you think do, they've worked at it for 10, 20 years.
Oh yeah, you got to hone it. I mean,
hone it, that craft, hone your talents. It takes more than just God-given talent. I'm convinced. It takes a lot of work.
It takes a lot of work and a little bit of luck. And it's
absolutely.
We both have friends that are in the business that the publishers, they were at the right place in the right time, or they're playing like Mr. Whiskey or something. The publisher, I gotta have that song. Next thing you sign a contract for this, and blah 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 blah, and it just doesn't. You know where they're getting the people today? A number one songwriter and the stuff, we're having a talk, and he's TikTok.
Yeah, I was going to say TikTok.
I mean, hey Bill, this guy's got 20 billion hits.
Yeah.
Let's just call him up and invite him down here and make him a star. Where have you played? Well, in my bedroom. Yeah. Well, you got 20 billion hits, so.
Now, can you make that work on stage in front of a lot of people?
And sometimes that's where they go. Like, where do they get this guy? I've never seen him in around. I've been down. If you come from when we come down here to what we're living here for 7 years, I've never seen him anywhere.
Yeah.
I've never seen him play out, or that's because they got him from TikTok.
I got you. Well, that's the thing about the socials and Spotify's and things like that. You can't make him. Look at Oliver Anthony. We keep talking about this guy. Gets out in the field with a microphone and a guitar, and they film a rich man from North Richmond, and becomes a viral sensation. Playing at the next month at the Ryman, I think 2-3 nights at Mother Church, and
awesome.
Yeah, there you go, viral sensation.
But he. You put up or shut up, and he put up.
He put up.
And it shuts you up. So
again, seems like an overnight success, but that guy
paying his dues.
Paying his dues. That's right.
That's what you got to do when you. Why can't I make any money? Well, you make your money out of town. And then when that works, you come on to Nashville and see. And
that's what a lot of folks. Two things. A lot of folks will do that. They'll live here in Nashville and make their money out of town, doing tours and things like that. Unfortunately, we don't. Nashville doesn't pay very well for shows.
Really?
Just so many.
I'm going back to Wisconsin.
Right. You end up paying more for parking downtown, than you're making there, and that's sad. And then the other thing. And Mark had talked about this on this show too. Like you and like me, you don't have to just pack up and move to Nashville. I'm going to be a star. You can test the waters, and I would come down a lot. A few times a year, set up writing appointments every time I come. There are a lot of people that don't live here that have a lot of success. And again, we talk about how you define success, and you have to decide what is success to you. But they come down and write a lot, and you wouldn't even know that they don't live here.
Exactly.
But they show their face, and they get known, and they get invited back to more rounds, and they get invited to write because they're good hangs, and they're good people, and they're not trying to shortcut the system. Good people to get to know. And so that's one thing too. Or, if you want to just pack it up and you can do it, and you can afford to do that, that's cool too, either way. But, it doesn't have to be that way. You had some success, speaking of success, with a song that did very well in the charts and was played, the music video, all over CMT and things.
Yeah, that's cool.
And we're talking about Tubing Down the Lazy River.
Yeah.
Tell us a story about that and how that all became. And then maybe play it for us.
It's one of them things they do in Wisconsin. They drop you off. They take a bus, Bill's whatever tour. And I don't know why you always use Bill, because I guess it's the first thing that comes out of my mouth. But they drop you off at a bus at a part of thousands of different rivers in Wisconsin, and
during the 2 weeks of summer, right?
During the 2, and sometimes it's 2.5 weeks. Those are the bonus parts of summer.
Yeah.
But they drop you off at a point and you float. Some people call it floating, like Joe Bazzelli. He's got a song called "Floating," but you go to where the actual current isn't going to be strong anymore. Sometimes it's a 2 mile, sometimes it's a 6 mile float or whatever, and they pick you up again with the bus, and they bring you to the parking lot wherever you're at, and you pay for that service. Or if you do it yourself, you got some buddies, you all get in the back of a pickup truck, and you leave Bill's pickup truck at the end, and you go drive your pickup truck at the top, and you have your fun. You get your coolers floating, and you get down to the end, and you actually you drive back, and you got your truck, and you better get home because there's police looking for you.
Well, it sounds like a fun week.
And that's what
fun day on the river.
It's a poor man's Six Flags Over America up there, but you have a great time, and you meet a lot of friends doing stuff like that. And one time it was like actually 94 degrees or something in Wisconsin. I was out there, I'll come out of the pool, and it just hits you. What? This is a fun thing. Why don't you write about it? So I always Google ahead of time to make sure that. All right, I'm going to write.
Written? Yeah.
And you realize that there's 10 bands that had the charts. I was like, well, you mean I Love You doesn't? I'm not the original artist.
That?
Oh man,
I don't worry about that anymore, Randy. I think they say everything has been written. So if you've got a different perspective on that, or just write it better. In your mind that you're going to write it better. So that didn't discourage you. You said, we're going to write it. And it's a fun song. I watched the video again last night.
That's a great video.
I'm going to ask you the question everybody wants to know, and you probably don't know the answer. We want to know, who's the girl in the pink bikini?
A model. They paid them for the model. And that's Janie.
That's Janie.
And those are called bobbers.
Aha! It's in the song.
But no, they
look it up and watch it. Lost Highway is the band, right?
Lost Highway. They're phenomenal. They're a great band. Had a huge following. They also cut a song of mine called Skin. That me, Kevin Van Pay, and Jay Bramer once again wrote, and that was the first release off of their CD. And they liked tubing so much they had to have it. So they actually have 2 songs on theirs, and they're a big Midwest hit. And thanks to the technology of today, the Sirius radio they made they made on that, and all of that social platforms and Spotify and stuff. So they
did very well with it.
They did very well.
Yeah. How did you get it to them? There's the
Sherry Spatori.
Cherie
Spatori.
Been on this show.
Yep. And Jay Bramer was part of this Global Songwriters Connection. And I
Great organization, folks.
And I became a member of that also. And she got it to Harry Williams. Anyway, but the guy she got it to pushed it to Lost Highway, and we not only love this one, we love this one too. And they got back to us and say, hey, these guys want to cut this song. And when we were all living in Wisconsin, so we know how it works, and that's how it worked. And here I am. But when they were making it big and stuff like that, it was like number 4 in the nation for 2 weeks straight, right behind like Miranda Lambert or whatever, and the most streamed songs to radio. And it's like, holy cow!
Incredible.
This is really. And then like the 3rd week, it fell to number 13 or something, and then it was
lost
like
its bullet.
Then it's in the 20s, but for that little magical moment in life. You say to yourself, all those years of playing in all those bands, all those bars, and all those festivals, it finally is, so me and my wife, Shelley,
validation.
We were down here for CMA Fest, and another band who cut it. So we also have they're called the Mance Brothers, and they did a great version of it also. And we were down here watching them release it during CMA Fest, and we both looked at each other. We were having so much fun, and we have so many friends down here. We just said, let's just move down here. So in 2015, that was on the radio and doing the videos. And when we got the video of it through my computer, I bet you I listened to it 13 times in a row and watched it and cried like a baby, like, oh, it took this long. Why did this happen when I was 24?
Oh, I hear you, man.
So we
that
moved.
is quite a feeling, isn't it? Yeah.
So we quit our jobs and moved down here.
Wow.
And
no regrets, no looking back.
The rest is history. Like I told you the other night,
Well,
though.
I, for one, am glad you did. So it's good to get to know you and Shelley.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they said, the other night we were talking, I go, we came here for the music and we stayed for the friends.
Yeah, that's the way this town is, isn't it?
Yeah. If you got enough friends here, I mean, when we're supporting each other,
Yeah.
it's, this is where we're staying. So. Whether you like it or not, people, Randy's not going away.
Not at least until you do tubing down the lazy river for us. You can't all the songwriting rounds you do. You've about every night you got to do this, don't you?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you say to yourself, so many people. It's like, watch, he's going to do tubing again. That's how it is. Where people locally say it, but when you had a whole table of people that never heard it, or like, I heard that song. I swear, I love that video with that girl in the pink bikini. That's where it is. That's what you. That's what you're in the business. That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
In this new town. Yeah.
Guess I'll do tubing for you.
Absolutely.
So close your eyes and go to a hot summer day, one of the days that they have in Wisconsin. And there's a girl in a pink bikini. Early morning weekend, it's 80 out at 8. Got a half a dozen buddies, and most of them brought dates. Ice is in the coolers, beer is getting cold. Bobby's feeling lucky 'cause he brought the Capitone. Flip-flops, shimmy-offs, vodka lemonade. Air is in the tires and the bus is on the way. We'll be tubing down the lazy river moving, 'cause we got all day just to play, floating all our blues away, grooving. Oh, we was tubing. Dropped off at Deacon's Point underneath the bridge. Buffett's on the radio and Bobby just fell in. We got the coolers floating and we're all set to go. You could tell by Janie's bobbers that the water's pretty cold. Squirt guns having fun past that lemonade. 6 hours in the sun, man, we got it made. We'll be tubing down the lazy river moving, where we got all day just to play, floating all our blues away, grooving. Oh, we'll be tubing. 4 miles down, we'll hit the sandbar. Stop the coolers up and wave goodbye to the lifeguards. Tubing down the lazy river moving, where we got all day just to play, floating all our blues away, grooving. Oh, we was tubing, we were tubing.
I figured you could use a good summer song like that here in January. So, courtesy of Randy VanVooran, our guest today. No, we're not shooting Santa again.
Dave, it's always a pleasure, my friend.
Good to have you on this show. It's good to get to know you a little bit better, and we're going to write a song one of these days.
Definitely.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time on the Songwriter Connection.
Thank you for listening to the Songwriter Connection podcast. Find us on social media at Songwriter Connection. Also, listen to Dave Lanahan's Nashville Connections radio show. It streams live every Friday morning on WOBL and WNOI. Look for us on Facebook and YouTube. See you next time on Songwriter Connection.